Good afternoon, and welcome back to Bears Talk Today. Bears Talk Today. Bears Talk Today. And boy, am I excited. We're going to talk about a week one here. I am alongside of my co-host, Mike DeFrancisco. Mike, how are you doing today?
The Bears are winning the Super Bowl. I just wanted to cut to it. I'm sorry. You guys know my name at this point. The Bears are winning the Super Bowl. I'm very, very excited to talk about why that's the case.
As you can see, and today we're going to talk about week one against the Tennessee Titans. They won that game 24-17. Obviously a rough game from the offense, but we're gonna break it down for you here. But before I break it down for you, let's give you a little props. So yesterday you went to the game.
I did.
Talk about your experience and talk about how it was being out there in such a crazy atmosphere.
So this atmosphere for this game was electric. The hope that was filled in the minds of Bears fans was unlike anything I've ever experienced. Everybody, was excited for the new era. They were prepared to coronate King Caleb as the King of Chicago, which, he struggled a little bit yesterday, so the coronation is postponed to week 2. But, there was just optimism throughout. And, when they announced the starters coming onto the field at the beginning of the game, there was like an earthquake in the stadium. It was electric. The environment was awesome. It really, to me, signified a new chapter in Bears football, and I think that's exactly what this is. The atmosphere was just amazing.
I'm right there with you. I was able to watch the game from home, and just ecstatic. They do say it's pretty toxic to be a Bears fan because, you never know what's going to happen. But, going down 17-0, I'm not going to lie here. They had us in the first half, like the meme. And honestly, the second half, I don't know what was said in that locker room. I don't know if Matt Eberflus gave out the Michael Jordan, secret, the secret sauce, secret juice, like in Space Jam. But, something had to happen in order to light a flame. And I kind of want to go into that. Let's talk about their early offensive struggles. So, obviously, Caleb Williams, the number one pick, the star of the show, he didn't do too well. 14-29, 48 completion rates, 93 yards, no interceptions, but also no touchdowns. Also, DeAndre Swift, 10 carries, 30 yards. He was okay. Keenan Allen, pretty quiet, 4 catches, 29 yards. DJ Moore, the extended wide receiver, 36 yards, 5 catches. Williams did have a electric 11-yard pass in the second quarter. I thought,
electric 7-yard, 11-yard.
Or 11-yard. I'm sorry, yeah, I'm reading off my notes.
That's the highlight of the game.
That was one of the highlights off the game. Rookie Rome Odunze, he did have a catch, but it was one of the most weirdest catches as it bounced off of a helmet and spiked into his hands.
Yep.
I thought we were playing volleyball out there, but
Caleb
weren't.
did that on purpose. He threw it with that intention to have it ricochet up. And then,
no. He
pre-planned.
He pulled a Lamar Jackson, except he didn't catch it himself. But overall, you got to give credit to where credit is due. Our defense carried this team, and some of the points that I took away from it was I appreciate Caleb's willingness to continue to keep throwing. A lot of his it wasn't a lot of solid completions, right? But the best thing is he never gave up. He never gave hope. Was he a little sporadic at first and kind of throwing the ball a little bit too far over? Yeah, but also, at the same time, people need to realize, this is his rookie game. There's going to be more games in the season of where he develops and gets better. Unfortunately enough, it's in week 2. It's not going to be any easier with the Houston Texans. But, yeah, and I have one more thing to say. Alex, whoever back there, put the camera on me right quick. I have a little rant I have to go through. For all you Caleb haters out there who want to say, oh, this is Justin Fields 2.0, stop it, okay? We all know that this is his first rookie game, and every NFL defensive linebacker wants a piece of him because he's the number 1 pick. We haven't talked about a number 1 pick quarterback like this in a long time, especially going to such a quarterback-to-die franchise like ours.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of hype. So Caleb will get better. Like I said in the previous episode, it's going to take time for him to develop and actually hit his receivers. And I think even this week, you'll see in practice, he will start to hit those dimes to those passes to Allen, to Odunze, and to DJ Moore. So it's going to take time to develop, but I think I'm not worried. Not yet, anyway. We're going to see what happens in week 2, but I'm not worried. I would love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Caleb didn't look good. He was a bit sporadic. His passes were a little inaccurate. They were a little low, a little to the side, a little long. He had Keenan Allen, who broke free on the left sideline, and he missed him. And I think that was just a case of he's got a little antsy, got a little excited. His mechanics slipped a little bit. But it wasn't all bad. He did do some things well. I think he moved with his legs pretty good, showed how good of an athlete he can be. But I think that we would be remiss to go any farther in this episode without mentioning today's player of the game. Alex, if you could throw that graphic up for me. Today's player of the game is the defense, the entire unit. They had 2 interceptions, 1 for a pick 6. They forced a fumble. They blocked a punt for a touchdown. They only allowed 127 passing yards to Will Levis. Point blank period, they are the reason that we won this game yesterday, right? I saw a stat. Teams were 2-306 in the NFL when they were down at least 14 points at halftime and failed to score an offensive touchdown. The Bears made that 3. They made it 3. That's because their defense is special. They were opportunistic. They were shutting down passing lanes left and right. The defensive line was causing havoc. Darrell Taylor himself had 8 tackles and 2 sacks, the recent trade acquisition from Seattle. They were electric. Jalen Johnson, 2 pass breakups, had an interception to seal the game, like I said. He graded out as a 92.3 per PFF, the highest graded corner of week 1. I mean, I can go down the list of defensive players who contributed massively. TJ Edwards, 15 tackles. Tyreek Stevenson, pick 6. And on that pick 6, the image of Will Levis just putting his hands on his head and falling to his knees was something that is going to feed families for generations. I really do believe that. I think that was that is one of the all-timers right there. And that, again, you look at that, it was caused by phenomenal pressure from DeMarcus Walker. Had Will Levis, made him scramble out of the pocket, and then Will Levis made a poor decision. Bears defensive backs were able to capitalize on that. The defense was, I thought, really, really good. They worried me in the first quarter because the Titans were running the ball pretty well. Tony Pollard, he was getting after it at first. Yeah. He scored that early touchdown, but they tightened up. Passing game was locked down all day. And this is the type of defense that can single-handedly win you games. And that's what they did yesterday, right? This gave me shades, and it gave me some, I don't want to say PTSD, but it gave me a memory of 2018. That Chicago Bears defense was out there winning games single-handedly. Now, by no means am I comparing King Caleb to Mitchell Trubisky, so don't you put your keyboard down. I'm not doing that. But, that 2018 team, they struggled to score a lot, right? Yeah. Trubisky wasn't the best. I'm gonna stay nice. I'm gonna stay nice on this channel. We won, so I'm gonna be nice today. But that defense was so opportunistic; they were able to keep the Bears in games. Kyle Fuller, Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks. Those guys would just single-handedly overtake. I mean, remember the game against the Los Angeles Rams? They gave up 9 points to a team that ended up going to the Super Bowl, right? So, if this defense can maintain this level of play, Justin, Caleb does not have to be perfect. No, he does not have to be throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. Now, most weeks, 93 yards is not going to get it done. 0 touchdowns. No turnovers, though, which is a positive thing. 93 yards is not going to get it done every week. But I think the defense showed what their potential can be and how they could just take over games. I was incredibly encouraged by the defense yesterday.
No, and I mean, you said it, Mike. I mean, I just thought, the boost of confidence that they got after that second half. I mean, they came out there. I know Mike Ditka was watching somewhere smiling like, this is what we used to have in the olden days. Yeah. And I believe, and I agree with Mike on the 2018 Bears. I mean, we don't have Khalil Mack, but it seemed like we were doing just fine. Just fine without him. But overall, I mean, I just thought this defense was strong. I mean, way to respond. I give a huge shout out. I mean, yes, the player of the game was the defense, but I mean, just to give you a couple of people, I mean, Tyreek Stevenson had the game-sealing fourth quarter pick and touchdown. Yeah. Jalen Johnson, after that, the paid money man, fourth quarter interception to pretty much seal off the deal. After that, defensive end, Darrell Taylor, 2 sacks. Yeah. DeMarcus Walker, 4 quarterback hits. I also want to shout out our special team, right? Yeah. Kicker Cario Santos. He had 3 field goals, 1 58-yarder and 1 48-yarder, and another one that was earlier in the first half, I believe. Just amazing. And how about Daniel Hardy? Obviously, Jonathan Owen gets the credit for scooping up the ball and making that touchdown pass. But without Daniel Hardy blocking that punt, there would be no touchdown pass. So Overall, I just, man, I was just happy to see it, right?
Yep.
When you look at this team, you can tell it's a completely different team from last year. Last year, we were kind of, reminiscing the end of Justin Fields and moving on. And I think this year, we just have a set of confidence that was not there before. And, I want to switch back to the offense for one quick second.
Yeah.
I completely believe in that third quarter, we should have ran the ball more.
Yes, I agree. They were running the ball well. DeAndre Swift, I thought specifically, was kind of getting himself into a groove. Even Khalil Herbert had a few nice runs, right? And they just kind of abandoned the run, which was surprising because Caleb was struggling. I think I give him credit for trying to keep him involved in the game plan. But when you have a lead late in the game, just run the ball, milk the clock, get first downs. That's what they were able to do, I think, on that last drive. But again, I don't think they ran the ball enough. So I would like to see the running game, it could open up some passing lanes because credit where credit's due. That Tennessee defense yesterday was really solid.
Yeah.
T'Vondre Sweat playing in his first ever game, he was causing havoc. I mean, he was. Justin Simmons, we all know how good he is. New trade acquisition, Ernest Jones at linebacker was having a nice day. And, their defensive backs were solid as well. L'Jarius Sneed, who, was a hero of the Chiefs team the last couple of years playing in Super Bowls, he was awesome as well. So this Titans defense had a really, really good performance. They had a winning performance, truthfully speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Their offense did not have a winning performance, which is, again, credit to the Bears' defense. But, no, I agree. I think the game plan should have involved more running, just kind of to ease Caleb in, make life a little easier for him,
No, I agree. And I kind of have a little question and answer for you. As we're on the trend of talking about the defense here. So in one word, or maybe two, I'm going to ask you this question. The Bears' defense was blank.
Amazing. What other good English language words are there? Incredible, unbelievable. That's about all the high-level vocab words that I know. So I'm just going to talk about why I think that this defense can be good, not only now, but going forward. I think the pass rush.
Yeah.
That's the key to every good defense is a good pass rush, right? You want to talk about the Legion of Boom, or you want to talk about the no-fly zone, or the early 2000s Ravens. They all got after the quarterback. They had great players in the back end as well. They were able to get after the quarterback, and that allowed every other player to do their job well and take advantage of mistakes. You look at the Bears, the forced fumble put the Bears right into field goal range.
Mm-hmm.
That's a result of good QB pressure. Like we mentioned, the pick six was because Will Levis was flushed out, had to roll to his right, made an ill-advised, what was it, a little shovel pass he did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pressure is great. It doesn't always lead to sacks. It doesn't always even lead to, incompletions. But when you're in that quarterback's head and when you can just speed up his process even a little bit, even just speed up that process a little bit, that just gives that less, it just allows the receivers to get open a little less. It allows, the quarterback to feel a little more rushed. Maybe his mechanics slip a little bit more. So pass rush is the key. I thought this pass rush was great. I thought maybe before the year they might have needed another defensive end outside of Montez Sweat, who we all know is great. And I know he was dealing with an injury yesterday. But Darrell Taylor came in as the pass rush guy yesterday. He was phenomenal. So I think this pass rush could be really, really good. And I think that's the reason why this Bears defense can be really good, because all those guys like Jalen Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson in the secondary, which are great, well, you can't cover a guy for 10 seconds, right? You need to get after the quarterback, and I think that they are able to do so, which is really awesome.
No, and I agree. And my word in the reference to future, I thought the Bears defense was sensational.
Okay, come on. You can't just make me look dumb with all these big vocab words. Sensational. That's like, dude.
Oh, man.
Give me a pen. I'm writing that down.
I wish I had one with me. I don't. But yeah, I just thought, kind of like what I said before, right? First half looked very flat. They made Will Levis look like he was Peyton Manning and just couldn't be touched, and just out there, just be able to make whatever throws.
The mayonnaise man had his cape on.
The mayonnaise man needs to lay off. No, he needs to lay off his mayonnaise. Is what he needs to do to start winning games. But neither here nor there. I'm not the Tennessee Titans coach, so don't come at me. But yeah, overall, that second half was really, really strong. And I believe, there were some words that were probably spoken in that locker room, like, hey, we are at home. We are not going to let a team who was not good at all last year.
You are embarrassing us.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right.
You are embarrassing us. This is bad. Overall, I think that having those momentum plays like Jonathan Owen scoring that touchdown and Daniel Hardy blocking that punt was just huge. I mean, without those plays, he will not be wearing his Caleb Williams jersey.
I would just be in that corner crying.
Okay.
But I wouldn't. Yeah.
All right. So if we do lose, Alex or somebody back there, make sure we get footage of that.
We get a camera in the corner.
We got a camera in the corner. We'll get that back.
Right.
But no, to kind of add on to Mike's saying about the defense, I think this is gonna help us for the season. I mean, especially where we are in those late game situations and we need a big defensive play. This is something that'll help us. Hey, remember that first game in week 1 where we were down in half? You have the confidence to be able to make one play and change the whole dynamic of the game. So I mean,
it's a character builder.
It is.
It's a great character builder. These guys have done it. I mean, first game of the year, they overcame a 17-0 deficit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that is, I think, like you said, just a true testament to the coaching, to the leaders in the locker room, guys not giving up. And this is a character-building moment for the Bears because, listen, they're going to have bad starts to other games this year.
Yeah.
But now I think they have the confidence to know they can bounce back and they can make it a game, and then they can even win the game, even if they're down 3 scores, which is awesome. I do want to, for a second, talk to you about Shane Waldron. Shane Waldron, coming in from Seattle, the offensive coordinator, and I have been on record saying that I'm not Shane Waldron's biggest fan. And, I understand that he is an upgrade over Luke Getsy. I understand that, right? But at the same time, is it a significant enough upgrade to get excited about? You know what I mean? Because, listen here, guys. Attack of the Clones is better than the Phantom Menace. But are we really calling that an upgrade? Are we really sitting here like getting excited about Attack of the Clones because it's better than the Phantom Menace? No, right? They're both trash, right? Respectfully. But here's the thing, like, is Shane Waldron Attack of the Clones or is he Revenge of the Sith? You know?
Yeah.
I have my doubts. And he did not show me a whole lot yesterday to prove to me that he is closer to the latter. What say you, Justin?
I mean, I agree with you. Our third and fourth down efficiency were terrible, and I mean terrible. And while I do put most of the fault on Shane Waldron, I also think it's hard for him because this isn't a Will Levis, a veteran. This isn't somebody who's played a single snap, right? So I think there was one play, maybe in the first or second quarter, where like Williams had a loss of like 10 or 15 yards, and the announcer said like, "This isn't USC football," or it was something like that in those words, and I'm like, yeah, because that's what he's done at USC. He goes in the backfield, he Patrick Mahomes it, and then somebody just magically catches it. And I think over time, he'll be able to kind of get himself out of that system, but give Shane Waldron a little bit of credit because coaching a rookie quarterback is like having a puppy. You're pretty much starting from zero.
Yeah.
You're having to figure out, okay, what does this kid don't know and already know?
Yeah.
And then figuring out, okay, how can I train him to not have that like baby or puppy mindset?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I mean, like I said, we will see what he does in week 2 because week 2 is against a monster in the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
But
I do want to say though, like, and I get your point about rookie quarterback. You kind of have the training wheels on him a little bit. I understand, and throughout the season they'll get a better grasp of what he runs well, what he's comfortable with, what concepts he doesn't like. I will say though, it is discouraging because the key kryptonite that he had in Seattle was third down and in the red zone.
Yeah.
And the Bears were bad on third down and they were bad in the red zone. And so I'm kind of thinking like, oh, here we go again, right?
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. Again, you can't just expect the world from him in week 1 with the rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
I thought some of his play calls, the ones I did like a lot of the plays where he had Caleb rolling out on those naked bootlegs, trying to get him in space, be creative.
Those were real good.
Those were good. I think those worked. I would have liked maybe a little bit more of those, especially like we said, if they would have ran the ball more, that would have opened up the bootlegs a little bit more. But cut it with the tight end screens, man. What are we doing? Why are we throwing tight end screens on third down to our backup tight end? I don't get it. He ran that in Seattle too, and he ran it to Gerald Everett also in Seattle. So there must be something with Gerald Everett that he just thinks his tight end screen. Yeah. He must think he's Bill Walsh or something. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know what he's thinking, but cut it with the tight end screens. I would have liked to see a little bit more quick game to get Caleb, some quick completions. Yeah. I thought maybe the RPO game could have been incorporated a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So overall, I was not very impressed at all with him. I had, again, some preconceived notions. He didn't make me feel any different. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see as the season goes on. Maybe he'll get more comfortable as the Bears offensive coordinator, as the play caller. But he's been calling plays for years now, and his play calling
is questionable.
It's questionable.
It's very questionable.
Yeah, it's to be seen, I guess, how he does the rest of the year.
No, definitely. And let's stay on the terms of offensive here. Obviously, Caleb did not have the greatest game ever. First game, like I said before, but I want to ask you, Mike, Caleb Williams' performance was blank. If you can give a word or a few words.
Here's a vocab word for you. Underwhelming.
Oof.
Beat that amount of syllables, Justin. Anyways, listen, he completed sub 50% of his passes. He didn't throw for 100 yards, and he didn't throw a touchdown. On paper, it's pretty bad, right? You can't really slice it a whole lot of ways. And I've tried. Trust me, I've tried to slice it in every way possible. In the NFL, that stat line's not going to get it done, right? He's not playing at Alabama. He's not playing with a 50-point lead that he can just mess around with every week. Yeah, he's got to play better. Mm-hmm. But what he did wrong, in my opinion, is totally fixable. Mm-hmm. Because in my opinion, the issues with him yesterday were, I think he was a little jittery. I think he got a little too antsy. I think that he, was he's a little inaccurate. His mechanics slipped. To me, that's not a concern for the rest of the season, right? Mm-hmm. If Caleb Williams went out and was peeing down the side of his leg and he didn't know, and he didn't know the plays, or he was scared and he got hit and everything like that, then I'd be a little concerned because I'm like, all right, this guy's not ready for the National Football League.
Right. Yeah.
Him being a little inaccurate in week 1, to me, is not the end of the world. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because he had a couple plays. Mind you, Keenan Allen also dropped a touchdown. So we could be here sitting talking about, a 50% completion with 100 and something yards and a touchdown and no picks. That looks a lot better if Keenan Allen squeezes that ball by the pylon, right? Yeah. So I'm not too concerned. Again, first game, he's going to be nervous. He said, I don't get nervous before games. Caleb, you lied. I'm sorry, buddy. We saw it. We watched the game yesterday, buddy. You're a little nervy. And listen, it's okay. It's all right. You're allowed to be nervous. I think maybe he felt the pressure of being the chosen one. Yeah. The one that I actually am quoted as saying that he's the guy that we have been waiting 100 years for. So, obviously there's a little pressure that comes with that. But yeah, I'm not concerned. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not concerned either. And honestly, I was watching the Pat McAfee show a couple of days ago, and they had Nick Saban on. And they had a very good point where they were talking about it's more about letting the quarterback progress, right? A lot of times you see these highly drafted quarterbacks, they come out the league and they have to sit behind the veteran, right? Well, I think this time by being able to have adversity, he's going to be able to know, okay, in these moments when I'm not throwing the ball as well, let me try a different play, or let me do some
use my legs a little bit more.
Yeah, use your legs. Yeah. Try the run game. This is all experience for him to not only know what to do when he's not performing well. I mean, think about every championship team that has, went to the Super Bowl and won it, right? All of their quarterbacks have not been 100% completion rate for every single game. There will be games where there will be games this season where your team will bail you out. But it's not even a bad bailout. It's a good bailout, right? It shows how good this team is and what our potential can really be. Yeah. But going back to Caleb, I mean, I think if that is like everyone wants to say that Peyton Manning, that interceptions record he has, right? But nobody really talks about it. Everyone talks about how great he is, how he's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, so I don't want him to get knock on wood. I don't want him to get 16 interceptions, but I do think that struggles will come and struggles will go. Yeah. And you know what? I'm still very excited. And here's my secret. I think he's already better than Fields. I'm just gonna say
Whoa.
it. I'm just gonna say it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just got canceled. All right.
No,
Good seeing you.
no.
Last year, Justin.
Right.
Bears
Show is canceled. Yeah. No, I mean overall, because I feel like he's more confident. I mean, not confident in the pocket, right? I mean, yeah. Did he have a couple of wheel out plays where he was trying to be Mahomes and he missed? Yeah, but I also think as well he believes that he's talented. And I'm sorry, Fields, for me, he was an okay quarterback, but I just felt like he wasn't confident of being able to stay in the pocket. I'm not against mobile quarterbacks. I love quarterbacks who can do both. But we both know that Caleb Williams has a strong arm. And once he is able to kind of throw those passes in,
it's conviction.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And has that confidence and is able to craft up his skill on, creating those accurate passes. I think he's going to be a beast, and I already think he's going to be way better than Fields. So, Bears haters, fans, Twitter X fans, come at me, and I will not reply. But we're blocking you. We're blocking you.
I'll say this too, like, you mentioned it. You're not going to have a great game this is National Football League. You're not going to have a great game every day, right?
Yeah.
George Clooney made Batman and Robin. That's all I got to say, right? One of the greatest actors of all time made Batman and Robin. So maybe this is just his Batman and Robin, and next we're gonna get something amazing. But so we talked about Week 1.
Yeah.
We talked about the Bears. We talked about Caleb and Shane Waldron and the defense again. The defense again because that's how good they were.
Yeah.
Now I think we can transition to talking about Week 2.
Yeah.
We have a big game coming up, not only in I guess an opponent, but also in pressure.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
The lights will be on. Peacock will be, streaming the game. It's against the Houston Texans, who are 1-0. They're led by superstar quarterback C.J. Stroud, a team that was one of the best teams in the NFL last year. They were on the up and coming after a bad 2022. Justin, talk to me about some of the key matchups that are going to be in this game.
I mean, we gotta go to the quarterbacks, right? C.J. Stroud versus Caleb Williams. I mean, that's going to be an interesting one because you have one person who only has a year's worth more of experience than the other one. So I definitely think we might see some early quarterback struggles, right? We're having our Bears defense that's coming off of an excellent game. They're feeling cocky. They're feeling confident about what they can do on their end. I mean, I do have concern for who's going to cover Stephon Diggs, but hey, I mean, if Tyreek Stevenson can slow him down, or you throw Jalen Johnson on him again, like I said, the paid money man, I think we can be okay, right? So I mean, for me, it's going to come down to the QBs, plain and simple, right? That's the basics of football. Yeah. If you look at their last game, it wasn't as dominant as I thought it would be, right? Not to give discredit to Anthony Richardson of the Indianapolis Colts, but I thought they would be a little bit more dominant, right? I thought they would go out there and blow out Indianapolis. It was a close win, 29-27. And I just felt like, we talked about it earlier, I felt like they were just throwing blows, one touchdown, another touchdown. Yeah. So we're I think matching up defenses, we'll kind of see what Houston does against us. The only negative drawback is that obviously our offense had a slow start. But I also think as well, like, if we're able to just switch up the plays, let's run some more. We have DeAndre. We signed him to, I think, was it a 4-year deal?
Yeah, 3 years, $24 million.
Deal.
Yeah.
We signed him to a 3-year deal, $20 million. Let's get this man some carries, okay? And I think that can be able to help us mix up the offense in a way. But what do you think is some key matchups for you, Mike? So
I'm with you. I think the quarterbacks are going to be key in this game. 93 yards is not going to cut it against the Houston Texans, I don't believe. But I think the key matchup in this game is going to be our defense against the Texans offense. I'll take it even a step further than C.J. Stroud. I think it's going to be Matt Eberflus versus the offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick of the Houston Texans. The Texans, not only do they have great personnel with Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs at the receiver position, Joe Mixon was very productive yesterday as well, and we all know how good C.J. Stroud is. But I think Bobby Slowick has been one of the up-and-coming great offensive minds in our game, right? He was close to getting a head coaching job, came back to Houston. I think what makes his scheme so, successful is he's a descendant of the Kyle Shanahan tree, right? They're going to use motion. They're going to use those quick RPOs to get the receivers in space and get them, yards after catch opportunities. So I think if you're the Bears defense, you have to be really dialed in. Tackling is going to be very, very important in this game.
Yes.
And I think that there needs to be great communication on the back end dealing with all the motion of these receivers because, you know what I'm saying, if we're in man coverage, you need to flow over. If you're in zone, you need to pass off responsibility. That's going to be the key for this Bears defense is communication and tackling against this Bobby Slowick offense.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen, on an extreme level how good like the 49ers can be, right? Just the way they run offense. Bobby Slowick is a direct descendant of that, right? He worked with Kyle Shanahan in Washington. And so they run a lot of the same concepts, kind of like that pseudo West Coast / RPO / heavy motion style of offense. And we know C.J. Stroud is able to make quick, good decisions, good accurate throws. So it's going to be up to the defense, I think, to limit the damage. And then, like you said, Caleb Williams is going to have to show up to play. He's going to have to, get off the bus, and he's going to need to throw some touchdowns. I mean, that's really – there's no other way to put it. He's going to need to make some big plays through the air if the Texans are going to lose the Bears. I almost said if the Texans win. Excuse me.
Wow, what a Bears fan you are with that jersey on. No, I'm kidding.
By the way, this is Caleb Williams. This isn't Kyle Orton. I know there's going to be comments as well. I saw a Kyle Orton jersey yesterday, which, I kind of have respect for. Yeah. Because he was trying to be slick. He was trying to pass it off as a Caleb jersey.
He definitely was. And just to add on that, just to give you some stats of Colts and Texans last game, C.J. Stroud, 24 of 32, 234 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you would have been like, oh, man, that's a clear-cut winner of who carried the game. But then you have Joe Mixon, who they just got. 30 carries, 159 yards. I mean, we are going to have a strong defensive line. And I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit, Mike. I know it's not in our script, but if you were the Bears defensive coordinators, what plays are you calling, or what are you doing more zone? Are you doing more man coverage? Take me through that.
So I would primarily run out of zone just because I think the Texans' skill position players are good enough to beat man coverage. Against the Titans, I know they ran a lot of zone as well, which Titans have pretty good receivers. They might be towards the end of their careers a little bit, but they're still kicking it. But the Texans have, I think, better receivers. I think running man coverage would be very bold. Although Jalen Johnson, I think, could hold up against any one of the Texans receivers. I think the more opportunistic they can be in zone coverage, right? I think that it would allow them to close down passing lanes more efficiently. And honestly, listen, if I'm Matt Eberflus, I'm sending the dogs next week, right? Yeah. The pass rush was elite. And if there's one way to make a guy like C.J. Stroud uncomfortable, it's to just get in his face, right? We saw last year. I go back to one of his early starts against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens completely just blew up the pocket, and it didn't allow him to have time for his receivers to get open down the field. And it helped against the running game. And like you said, Joe Mixon had 159 yards yesterday. So I would run primarily, I think, a lot in zone coverage, maybe incorporate a lot of those zone blitzes. I would like to see Tyreek Stevenson coming off the edge. I saw him do some of that yesterday. And, just really make life uncomfortable for C.J. Stroud. But I think man coverage, I think we're getting a little dicey with that, right? Because I trust Jalen Johnson to be locked down. Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, they're young defensive backs going against veteran receivers. Yeah. That could be a recipe for disaster. And Jaquan Brisker, I think, is also a guy that could play closer to the line of scrimmage next week to be almost like a pseudo linebacker, filling in against the run and also rushing the passer. So I would be aggressive against C.J. Stroud. I think, if the Bears can get a turnover or two, this really could turn the tide of the game. But it's going to be hard against a guy like C.J. Stroud. You can't let him sit back there and just, pop open a tent and get a drink, and he's got to be uncomfortable, right? Because if he's just able to sit back there and relax, he's going to dice up the Bears all day. Like I said earlier, I don't care who you have at corner or safety. Yeah. You could have Legion of Boom back there. If you're not getting a pass rush, it's not, you're not going to play good defense. So again, I'd stack the box, maybe 6-7 guys, play some zone coverage on the back end. I think that's a recipe for success to beat C.J. Stroud.
No, and I'm right there with you. I just think overall that's going to be the key, right? He is another strong-arm quarterback, and what do you do against strong-arm quarterbacks? You limit their visibility. You make sure that they either have to run it or throw it out of bounds or throw it into some crazy coverage, right? And I just think that, I have a lot of confidence, like you said, in Jalen Johnson, of being able to keep up with a Stephon Diggs. keep up with Tank Dell. I think when you have, like I said, I know I repeated all over again about the Bears defense from last game, but I just think the overall confidence. I mean, hey, if I'm Jalen Johnson, I'm walking into practice with my sunglasses on, and I'm like, one-on-one, Gucci flops, Hermes bag, whatever you want to call it. But, I'm walking in with instilled confidence and also hunger of like, hey, we have the Texans next week. A lot of people counted us out in the second half or the first half of the game, of our home game. Like, let's go out there. Let's kick some butt.
Yep.
So I definitely think that that'll be key, like zone. Now, if they do start to run it, you got to switch it to man immediately.
Now Justin, my question for you then is, on the flip side of that, you got DeMeco Ryans, who runs the defense for the Houston Texans, former linebacker, was the coordinator of the 49ers a couple of years ago, took them all the way to the Super Bowl. In your opinion, if you're Shane Waldron, what needs to be the game plan against this Texans defense, who was sneaky good last year and had the Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson, who can wreck games, What are you doing if you're Shane Waldron on Sunday to, I guess, overcome this DeMeco Ryans-led defense?
All right, let me go on my Madden playbook
Yeah,
here.
4 verts.
4 verts.
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary trio.
No. Halfback slip screen.
HB toss.
Right.
For me, I would say we got to keep it short and sweet, right? A bunch of short passes is what's going to win this game. We already seen what happens. I mean, thankfully, Caleb did not throw an interception last week. And I think if you do throw a deep ball, Houston's going to kill us. So let's play it short and let's play it smart. Our focus, if I'm Shane Waldron, which I hope you're listening to this, it should be getting those first and second downs, right? Getting those third downs, right? That is the key, right?
Yeah.
Our last game was terrible. We had a poor third down completion rate.
Yes.
And I think that is key, right? Caleb Williams doesn't have to come out here and be Patrick Mahomes.
Marino.
Dan Marino. Yeah, you don't have to throw 50, 60-yard passes. But I do think, it's going to come down to simplicity, right? We don't have to do a bunch of wheel routes where Caleb's going to shift to the left and we're just going to gunsling it, because there will be a hungry Houston Texans cornerback that will be waiting, or a defensive end that might tip up the ball and cause disruption. Yeah. Definitely, we got to run the ball more. Like I said earlier, DeAndre Swift is our guy. You've seen how effective he was in the third quarter of Sunday's game. Yep. And I believe if they would have given him more, he probably could have ran for close to 70, 80 yards. And I'm just being bold
my
here.
parlay would have appreciated if he got 70 yards. But, you mentioned, like, quick game and running the offense like that. Didn't even mention the Texans also signed Danielle Hunter in free agency.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Who was awesome last year. So, the dogs will be coming for Caleb Williams tomorrow, or next week, excuse me. And we don't want him getting beat up, right? The offensive line, there was some leakage yesterday, unfortunately. Yeah. The offensive line didn't hold up, I think, as well as a lot of people would have liked. Shocker, it's the Chicago Bears. Anyways, I think quick game, you're right, it's going to be absolutely key. Get the ball out quick, move the chains, get those first downs. I also think it'll help them to get some confidence, right? Yeah. Get completions, get first downs. So I agree with you. I think the quick game is going to be important. Like I said, those RPOs, the runs, I think are going to be really, really good for the Bears. And you know what? I don't need Caleb Williams doing the Anthony Richardson, throwing the ball 60 yards back foot, Kobe, just launching it 60 yards like Anthony Richardson did. Yeah. I need Caleb Williams to run the offense efficiently. I need him to make a few big-time plays in this game. But listen, if we're running the offense the way that we're supposed to, if we're staying ahead of the chains, if we're not taking sacks, Caleb, don't be dancing like that anymore, man. That 15-yarder was not pretty, all right? No. There's not a lot of plays in the playbook for 3rd and 35, right? Yeah. As much as I would love to say that there's not. So keep yourself ahead of the chains. Again, short, quick passes, keep the ball moving. And also give those guys like DJ Moore a chance to get some yards after catch. Yes. If he can get the ball in his hands, even if you throw it to him 3 yards down the field, DJ Moore could take it to the house. Yes. I mean, that's just the type of guy that he is. So I agree. I think that needs to be the offensive game plan, because this Texans defense, they got some pass rushers. They do. I do not want to see the the prince of my franchise, soon to be king, because like I said, the coronation is coming. I don't want to see the king of my franchise on the ground much this game.
No,
which would be the key.
I don't either. And we forgot one key person, right? The guy that we traded for, Keenan Allen. I believe last game he only had one
drop touchdown.
One 4 catches, 1 drop touchdown, 29 yards. I expect for him to feast in this game as well. I think they're both really good at running after catch, both Swift and Moore. I know we just got news before our show started about Rome Odunze, so hopefully he will be good to go. I think he'll be another kind of back pocket weapon that we can use for this game. But let's transition a little bit. So what do you think, Mike? Do you think the Bears defense will hold up and contain C.J. Stroud in next Sunday's game? That face means something.
Listen, I'm just rosy because I'm sunburned. Okay, I'm not.
Hey, when you
that's it.
Tailgating for 8 a.m., man. Bear down.
I was trying to find Caleb Williams when he entered the stadium, so I was no. I think the Bears defense will play good next week. I don't know if they're 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, forced fumble. I don't know if they're that good. Because this C.J. Stroud is not going to make the same mistakes that Will Levis made. Right?
Yes, not at all.
So I think the defense will play good. I don't think it's going to be utter domination.
Mm-hmm.
But I say if you keep the Texans under, let's go 27 points, I think that's a good day at the office. Yeah. This Texans team has the ability to score at all 3 levels.
Yes.
C.J. Stroud it throws a phenomenal deep ball, great quarterback. Joe Mixon's running the ball. They got good receivers, a good play caller. Their offense is good. Just keep the game in check. Don't let the lead get too far ahead. Give the Bears offense an opportunity to make up for last week and get them back in the game. I think that they'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. I believe that if we can just play, like you said before, keep that zone, just stay on your toes, just try to slow the Texans down, right? We're gonna see an electric offense next Sunday, and I think the biggest keys, yes, will be our defense, but also you got to put the offense. Will the offense show up? And I'm hoping so as a Bears fan because we need it. We can't win another game with our defense. I mean, if we do, there will definitely be a lot of hate and concerning questions on Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for a better result. Even if he does throw an interception or 2, but he has a better yard and completion rate, that shows some progress, right? Yeah. So to answer the question, I believe that we will hold up. I mean, we're coming off of a comeback win, and our defense carried the team, not our offense. So I think that'll definitely boost the team confidence going into this game. And like I said, we'll see what happens here. So before we end our show, we're going to give our game predictions. I know our first episode, we both had this team losing. We're both currently 1-0 right now. We had our predictions. You were I think we were both very close.
I said 24-18.
And I think I'm
taking that to the bank.
I think I said 23-19. But do you still see, because I know we talked about it, them both losing. After seeing game 1, do you think the Bears have a chance of beating the Texans?
No. Sorry. How do I say this nicely? And I want to be positive. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Bears offense right now is in a position to go, say, band for band with the Texans, right?
No.
I don't know if Caleb and this offense can keep up with CJ and the Texans offense. And as good as I think our defense will be, they are not miracle workers, right? Well, after Sunday, they might be miracle workers.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I just think it's too daunting of a task to ask the offense to improve that drastically in a week and for the defense to keep up that elite level of play. And again, there's really no shame in losing to the Texans on the road in week 2 of Caleb Williams. This is a team that is going to be in contention to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC. They're going to be very, very good this year. I do believe that they will win their division. So, no, I don't believe the Bears will win. If I had to shoot you a score, I will go 27-17. I think the Texans win 27-17.
Yeah. No, I mean, unfortunately, I know the last episode I was super optimistic, but I'm not going to lie, we not winning this game. Respectfully, I just think Houston has just way too much experience, and I believe that, yes, we had a phenomenal game of our defense, but this was against Will Levis and Tony Pollard. So I just think with better talent, we're not going to be able to contain it as much. But I will say, no matter if they do win or lose from this game, I think it'll definitely be a learning lesson, and they will go into week 3 with more confidence. So I'm not mad if we lose this one. I mean, looking at the NFC North, everyone except for Green Bay, which is really happy.
Suck it, Packers. Sorry. The voice cracked.
Yeah.
But it was worth it because I made fun of Green Bay, so it was worth it.
Alex or Matt, whoever's back there, make sure you clip that. No, but I mean, right, we've seen week 1, and I mean, obviously week 1 is the test drive for all of the teams, right? But from the few clips that I did see of our division rivals, NFC North is looking a little strong, right? So
Sam Darnold. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
He was
right?
awesome yesterday.
He was awesome. Yeah. I mean, they were all pretty much awesome yesterday. And I think overall, it's just I'm okay with going 1-1 with this game, right? Just like we said in the first podcast, you have to win the games that count. They started off their season at home. They won against the Tennessee Titans. It's a long, long season. So there's going to be teams that'll change or teams that'll have development and be able to we're going to be able to grow and get better.
Yeah.
So I don't see us winning this game. I'm going to say the score is probably going to be similar. We'll do 30-15 for
30-15. Jeez. I think this will be a great litmus test for the Bears to see where they're at. Again, you're playing against the Titans. You can get away with some stuff that you won't be able to get away with a lot of the better teams in the NFL. With the Texans, they will punish you for those mistakes, right? Bears, like we said, we're not good in the red zone. If the Bears are kicking field goals instead of scoring touchdowns, the Houston Texans will make us feel that. They will hurt us because of that. If the Bears are bad on third down again, the Texans will make us hurt because of that. So, again, this is a good litmus test to see where the Bears rank relative to the rest of the NFL because of this good Houston Texans team. And I think, we're talking about the coronation. Week 3 then against the Colts, I think that could be the coronation.
That'd be a good game.
It'll be a good game. So I think maybe we're waiting to crown Caleb till week 3.
Yeah.
No later, but probably no sooner as well. But I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does. First off, we just want to thank everyone for watching.
Yes.
We've both been getting a lot of text and messages about our show. We thank you.
Shout out my mom.
Shout out my mom, too. Love you, Mom. Thank you to Aurora Community Television for giving 2 local sports fans a chance to talk about our team.
Yep.
If you are interested in following more of our content, follow our socials, Instagram and Facebook at Bears Talk Today, and I believe Twitter or X or whatever you call it. I'm like an old man.
It's Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah, okay. We're going with Twitter. Twitter, is it Bears_Talk Today?
Yes.
Yeah. So follow those socials. We'll be going 1 p.m. live every Monday to talk about the recap of the previous week's game, and we're so excited to see, hopefully, if the Bears can pull one out. Thank you guys for watching today. I'm Justin Evans. This is my co-host, Michael DeFrancisco, and we are signing off.